I lived up the street on Jones in the Loft Building, and I used to come down to a coffee shop, which is about 4 doors down from here, Grinder. And I would go down, and I was working on film deals, trying to do distribution into theaters, and trying to book films generally and sell them. And the owner had overheard me talking about things on the phone, and he just approached me. He's like, hey, did you ever think of owning a movie theater? And the first answer out of my mouth was, no, I have no fucking interest. 3, 4. Big Picture Cinema is located in the oldest operating cinema in Canada. It's the second oldest cinema in Canada, actually. It was actually up for sale by the owner of the building. Through a little bit of arm twisting and looking at the business opportunities that it would present, showing independent Canadian film, which really doesn't happen a lot in the city or across Canada, which is a passion of mine. I'm like, okay, well, give us a try and see what happens. Knowing absolutely nothing about the cinema business was the biggest hurdle, the first one. I came into this blind just loving movies and selling movies, and I understood how the contracts worked and what to look for content, and I thought I had an idea of what the audience liked and what they wanted. My goal was to elevate Canadian cinema, specifically, and really showcase art house and independent and foreign films. When I was doing art, when I was growing up, I never really felt like there was a safe place to explore and to do interesting art, to really put yourself out there and take risks. And I still, to this day, feel that the city doesn't really embrace that. People like to say that it embraces that, but it doesn't. And I really want this space to be a place where you can come and take those risks. Wow, it's like doing an inventory in like a Walmart is all the stuff that I'm doing. It's a little ridiculous. The first feature film I produced under my new company, it's called No Boys Allowed. I have the biggest crush on this girl. Throwback 80s horror film. A whole bunch of girls go to a camp, basically to get away from the city for a bit and end up getting slaughtered. You know, that kind of good fun. What it takes to run a successful cinema, aside from the usual blood, sweat, and tears, is constantly updating and coming up with new things, because it's not like we're not selling widgets, we're not selling candy bars. I mean, that's part of it, but we're not selling goods, we're selling dreams and ideas. And what I'm doing, I'm battling against people who have hundreds of millions of dollars in advertising dollars, and I have very little. I'm looking at spending about $40,000 this year on upgrading a projection system, which I wanted to do last year, but because of the legal shit that I'm dealing with my former business partner, it's not happened. So I'm looking at doing that this year, which is going to allow me to do all of the bigger Hollywood films, but I mean more like the art house, like 12 Years a Slave and like American Hustle. The biggest thing for this particular space being that it is on a street it was not nearly as developed as it is now, and it's still not developed at all. People do not know this place exists because it's been off the map for over 30 years. When I came to this neighborhood, I'm like, oh, it's a nice, quaint little neighborhood. I love Little India. I was here all the time anyways for that, and I discovered Chinatown. I'm like, that's really cool. I'm like between two of my favorite food groups. There's a lot of like retail space that's available here that's all residential, and if it was retail, it would draw more people out to the street and build more of, I think, a sense of community. What's missing is that storefront, that kind of thing you get on Queen Street East where you can just wander for like kilometers and you're like, this is great. There's something new every minute.
How would you describe the neighborhood in one word then?
I hate sounding cliche, but eclectic. Definitely an eclectic neighborhood. This neighborhood isn't there yet. Like, it's just happening. Queen East has already happened. Like Young and Egg, when I lived here, has already happened. Like Queen West is happening, King has happened. Like, it's already been there. This is really unique because it's just starting. There's something different here happening. The businesses are opening up. People are trying to do new things here because the rent is cheap.
Do you ever worry about the future of this cinema?
I mean, daily, that's why I keep working on it. You always have to worry about the future of the business. It's just the reality of any business. 10 years from now, if it continues to operate, it will be functional on its own. It'll just continue to ride. But will it be difficult? Will this ever be easy? No. Cinema is extremely difficult, especially what the strategy I'm taking, which is not mainstream film. I see the cinema as continuing to be a unique cultural space where there is a collision of live entertainment and filmed entertainment. 10 years from now, I want people to look back on their careers and on their lives and the things that I've helped them do and what they've done, and we're like, I started here, this is where it all began. And that's really what I want this to be.